by this point in the pandemic, a lot of us are pretty familiar with Zoom, but I wanted to start off by letting everybody know this meeting is being recorded. You probably heard the voice just now, but also just if you could, please keep your mic muted when you're not talking. The mute button's on the bottom left of your screen if you're on a desktop. We'd love to see your faces if you're available, so you can turn your video on in the same place. If not, and if you do have any questions, any thoughts, there's the chat that you can use at any time, also at the bottom of the screen. So speaking of chat, we did want to start off with a little bit of a chat storm. So the past couple of years have been a transitionary period for a lot of people and organizations, especially in Yellow Springs. Home Inc. is no exception. We're in the process of revisiting our values, and we were hoping that we could just take a few minutes or a couple minutes, not even a few minutes, to type in the chat a value, at least one more if you choose, that you think Home Inc. represents to you. So we'll take maybe 30 seconds to do that, and then we'll continue. I see justice, inclusivity, stability, equity, housing that is permanently affordable, opportunity, ambition, nice, good ones. Creativity, awesome. Okay, give it a couple more seconds. Wonderful. Okay, thanks so much, everybody. So we're going to be saving the chat from tonight's meeting so we can take a look at this further in the future. So your input is really appreciated to help us direct ourselves in the coming year.
Alex, do you want to re-interview
Yeah.
Jean?
So a couple of the things that we talked about, the first one we talked about was what has home meant to you in this past year?
Oh, Lord, home has meant everything. I was just talking to my brother this afternoon. This has been a horrible 16 months for me. I still have no work. I really feel in many ways like I have no place in this town, no part of what goes on here. And after living here almost 50 years, and it's utterly maddening. But the one thing I do have is this wonderful place to live, and a secure place to live. And I don't know exactly what Home Inc. status is in this sense. You guys are pretty much independent of things like councils and such, right? Pretty much an independent. Well, anyway, you're specifically dedicated to giving, low income people who are not oriented toward material things, a secure place to live. And if it wasn't for you guys, I probably would not be in that position of having a secure place to live, because if I had to depend on landlords in this time, I hate to think where I'd be. And so having this apartment has made all the difference in the past 16 months, all the difference. And you guys saw my porch, and that's the thing I love the most about my setup here on the orange door on 540 King Street, is that porch, because I'm out there all the time, just getting fresh air and talking to people and listening to my various radios. I call myself the guardian of the gate of King Street, because if I'm out on that porch, you can't drive by here without seeing me. So I don't know how I would stop you if you didn't. If I want you to come, but just a little bit of silliness I engage in. So anyway, it means absolutely everything to me. I'm so grateful to Home Inc. Okay.
Well, thank you, Jean. We appreciate hearing from you, and hopefully the sound will start working again, because we have some really great videos that we put a lot of energy and enthusiasm into. But for now, I will just give a presentation overview of our activities for the year. I believe that's next on the agenda. So let me pull up my PowerPoint. and share my screen. Can everybody see the screen? Okay, perfect. So I already introduced myself, but I'm Emily Seibel. I'm the Executive Director of Yellow Springs Home, Inc. This is my 10th year as the Executive Director. And so earlier we wanted to just do an experiment where we got to hear from you about your what you saw as the Yellow Springs Home, Inc. values. And so this is actually a chat store, a word cloud based on a board and staff survey about what our values are. So we'll, as Alex said, be taking all of your input and using that in order to inform our values. We're reassessing them this year with the board, the staff, and all of our incredible committee members. And so I think there's definitely some overlap between the word cloud and what you put in the chat. So in 2020, I mean, what can we say about that year? You know, we may have been isolated, brokenhearted, angry, working from home, etc. But at Yellow Springs Home, Inc., and here as residents in Yellow Springs, I think we saw firsthand the power of community through dedicated and awesome acts of collective resilience. And our gratitude truly grows for the home that we all share together. And we feel this sort of collective drive, not just Yellow Springs Home, Inc., but across Yellow Springs and also across the nation, to recommit to our core values as we seek to make Yellow Springs more equitable and further racial, economic, and social justice for all, and really pursue a truly inclusive community. And so each home that we build is truly an act of love. And so we invite you to share in this joy with us. So here is a look at 2020. So since COVID-19 started, we learned through the Enterprise 360 dashboard report that for the very first time, more than half of all renters in the village of Yellow Springs are now housing cost burdened, meaning they pay too much in housing costs to live comfortably and often must choose between basic provisions to make ends meet. And so while a lot of people struggle with quality, affordable housing and housing choice in the village, we also all know someone who's been displaced because they can't afford to live here anymore. And so this growing gap between what is affordable and incomes and then the housing market demands public intervention as the affordable housing crisis grows. And so we at Home, Inc. believe that investing in lasting affordable housing is key to answer the question, what kind of community do we want to be today, and what kind of community do we want to leave for future generations? We believe that housing is a fundamental right and that our community is strengthened by diversity in all of its forms and intersections. Our work is located in a broader historical context of furthering racial, economic, and social justice through community development and the key strategy of affordable housing. And all of the photos in the presentation today are clients in our community land trust, people that you may know, neighbors, friends, and residents in the village. And so here you can see a snapshot of our strategic plans from 2019 to 2023. They're organized under 4 key banners. I'm not going to read the slide, but we do have a set of operational plans each year that implement this, that we revisit on an annual basis. And so we welcome your input and ideas under any of these broad banners, and we will have time for some questions and question and answers at the end of the presentation. Our biggest achievement last year is also our biggest achievement to date as an organization, which is the Glen Cottages Pocket Neighborhood. And this project has been a long time in the making. We actually started thinking about it in 2016. And then in 2019, Planning Commission approved the pocket neighborhood zoning overlay. And that same year, this project was finally fully funded thanks to nearly $1.5 million in grants and loans, including the 20th anniversary Yellow Springs Home Week Capital Campaign. So thank you sincerely to everyone on this call who contributed to that. And I hope you feel very proud of what we were able to accomplish together. So we were all ready to go at the beginning of 2020, and then COVID-19 struck. So groundbreaking was delayed, construction was delayed, lumber prices skyrocketed. The first bid that we got back was $350,000 over budget, and life as we knew it was deferred. But as Anthony Fife writes in the annual report coming out right after this meeting, you can't keep a good community land trust down. So after 4 contract addendums, additional fundraising, plan revision, budget revision, new financial model, we were absolutely thrilled to be able to break ground in November of 2020. And here are some very early pictures of the project site. So Glen Cottages is 12 units of permanently affordable housing right here in Yellow Springs. And this $2.25 million project was providing 12 new homes, 6 rental and 6 for sale. And so these are not just 12 residents for today. It's creating 12 homes that will always be affordable to persons of low to moderate income through the land trust. And then there are also new utility customers. It's creating new property tax revenue to benefit the schools, people who are able to stay here and then get to be part of our local economy and enhance our community in a number of different ways. And this whole project was designed for inclusive infrastructure and really based on the housing needs assessment and the gaps in the village. So when we do affordability analysis and testing, the market in Yellow Springs, market rate housing really starts at around 120% of area median income, which is about 40%, the top 40% of the population. And so we wanted to create a product that would meet everybody where they were under 120% of area median income. And we were able to do that through this inclusive infrastructure. So all of the units have front porches facing each other around a shared commons that is governed by a homeowners association where renters and homeowners have a voice, and graduated layers of privacy, etc. So these are just not glamorous photos, but I just wanted to kind of cue up the big reveal. So this is what the site looked like the day after we broke ground in November of 2020. And this is what it looked like last week. So there are 6 rentals and they range from approximately 700 to 900 square feet, and they'll serve residents of very low income. We anticipate serving residents making below 50% of area median income with these units. And then there are 2 set-asides for persons with developmental disabilities. And then everyone in the rentals is special needs, which means a qualifying disability or an age, or they age qualify. When we just held the drawing for these units, we received 56 applications for 4 available slots. The other 2 are appointed through the county. And we cannot wait for you to meet the residents, but we're not quite there yet. So there are also 6 for sale homes, and those are organized in 2 different housing models ranging from 887 square feet up to 1,084 square feet. And each one has 1.5 to 2 baths and 3 bedrooms, serving a mix of low to moderate income first-time home buyers. And I just think it's worth noting before I move on to the next slide that the appraisals for these 2 small prototypes came in recently. And so they're on a very small lot with access to the common area. And again, 875 to 1,025 square feet. and they appraised for 208 to 218,000. And our sale prices to home buyers of low income start at 93,500. So there's already over 50% subsidy in these homes. And I just feel like that's worth noting, how to position them within the market rate housing context. And then I just also wanted to share that we have not forgotten our promise to be unflagging in our enthusiasm until there are congregate senior apartments in the village. There are 10 lots between Herman and Marshall Street, which we purchased with a loan from the Morgan Family Foundation for just this purpose. And we took a break from funding applications due to unfavorable scoring criteria in 2020. And so we're just in a holding pattern while we reassess a path forward. But we are absolutely committed to serving the elders in Yellow Springs. We've been listening, and we are an acknowledgement that it is a pressing and urgent local need. So by September, we hope to know enough to determine whether or not the project would be competitive for a round 3 tax credit application. We'd need about $10 million in equity from low-income housing tax credits in order to build a large senior apartment building. And that would be in partnership with St. Mary Development. So we've gone in twice. We were thinking we'd go in 3 times. And so we're going to reassess once the scoring comes out. So stay tuned. We'll let you know what we do. We'll obviously only apply if we feel it would be competitive. But we really appreciate your support, and we just want you to know that we continue to be very committed to the vision of providing senior apartments in Yellow Springs. And so we are also building project management capacity with the Forest Village Homes project. You can see DJ Clean Jeans porch there with the orange door. And we just passed our first annual audit by the Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati. So we have these long-term funding agreements, and we have to show that we did what we said we were going to do. And, you know, Brittany Keller is on our staff, and she has truly risen to the challenge in terms of bringing a lot of capacity, not only to create new affordable rental housing, which is complex, but also to set up asset management plans, do compliance and reporting, help us with property management. So she has just done a phenomenal job getting us to the next level. And I'll just close the project overview by saying, you know, now once the 12 homes are completed at Glen Cottages, we'll have 40 homes in the portfolio. And we're already underway planning our next projects, and we truly look to you for input as we navigate our future. And then shifting into programs, a housing stability task force was formed in 2020 in order to bring housing and utility relief to villagers during the pandemic. And so this housing stability task force includes a member from the Village Community Outreach Program, the Yellow Springs Community Foundation, representatives from Yellow Springs Home Inc., and also advocates for basic legal equality. And so in 2020, more than $50,000 was allocated through the Yellow Springs Community Foundation and Miami Township for housing and utility relief. And we've been able to serve more than 75 families locally at this point through that program. And then we've raised additional funds since then. And it's really designed to act as bridge funding until national funding comes in. And we're still trying to determine when, how, if, and whether that federal money will flow down into the village eventually. But we've been very pleased with the way everyone really stepped up to solve what clearly was a pressing and urgent problem where people were in crisis. As landlords, we also made a public pledge not to evict anyone due to non-payment related to COVID-19 economic hardship. And so we were able to pass some funds along from the state in order to do that as well. We also advocated for pay to stay legislation, which council passed to help renters in crisis, and now other communities have followed suit, including Dayton. And then we raised an additional, Yellow Springs Home Inc. raised an additional $6,500 outside of the village through a couple of different funding sources. And we were just put that right through to immediate food access and emergency provision access for families in Yellow Springs. And so through that initiative, over 40 families in the free and reduced lunch program were provided with regular meals over the summer months. And then funds were also used to help stock the local food pantry and then the little free pantries. And we're estimating another 200 families were served in that capacity. All that to say, I think we all were so grateful to live in Yellow Springs through what was undoubtedly a very difficult year. And we're honored to be part of an effort that accounted for literally every resident in the community through the community block program, counted block by block by block. We're just absolutely in awe of the demonstrated commitment of our partners, local activists, neighborhood leaders, and neighbors helping neighbors. So we're really hoping that this collaboration continues to serve the community moving forward. There was a lot of economic hardship, a lot of problems that existed before the pandemic that are continue to persist. And so we're hoping that we can just build on this momentum and keep going to do whatever we can to provide stability and remove barriers for people in poverty in Yellow Springs. Which brings me to the Inclusive and Resilient Yellow Springs Coalition, which is more than a year in the making. But in 2020, we kicked it off. It was envisioned by Kanetta Sanford, and we have been meeting bi-weekly as a coalition starting in 2020. You can see our mission here. You can see some of the organizations that are represented on the coalition. It's a fabulous group of people. I think most of them are on this call today. And now Alex Scott is our lead convener, and we're very appreciative. But in 2020, there was a lot of behind the scenes work, establishing the coalition members, developing this collaborative mission statement, developing plans to roll out this year in 2021. And there is a pretty broad focus for this year, and I'll just give a few highlights. But the beautiful thing about meeting every other week is that it's a living document. It's a living set of strategic plans. And so as we find out about new opportunities, we jump on them and pivot. So this is sort of a general visual graphic from Enterprise Community Partners that shows opportunity outcomes and pathways. And I think all of these areas are represented well on our coalition. And so one of the things that we're doing this year is getting ready to roll out a community-wide survey through Livable, Equitable, Age-Friendly Yellow Springs. Tony Dosick is leading that up. We'll then have an action plan coming out of that. We also held a cost of poverty experience to inform local decision makers. And I just want to note now that if you were not able to attend and you would like to, there is an encore session scheduled for Tuesday, August 17th at 10:00 a.m. And so please stay tuned. Look at the Yellow Springs Home Inc. Facebook page or website, or just reach out to me directly if you'd like to participate. It's free, thanks to the CareSource Foundation, and it is a fabulous training on the cost of poverty. And the whole idea is that you are immersed in poverty for this session. You're able to see through the lens of poverty in terms of navigating barriers, and then you're supported in learning about how to become an ally really effectively through the vehicles that are shown on the screen. So it's great for decision makers, but also if you just want to learn more about how to be an ally to persons in poverty, or if you are a person experiencing poverty and would like to place your own experience in a broader context. So I think it's helpful for everyone, and we encourage you to participate. We also were able to procure and fund some home repair grants for homeowners in the village, advocacy for local renters. Another area is local presentations and training and identifying grants and resources that we can pursue to bring additional benefits into Yellow Springs. Engaging in village-wide affirmative marketing and outreach efforts and training. And then there's also a courageous conversations on race cohort that will be implemented in the public schools and more. So this is really just getting started, and we're just very excited for the future of this collaboration, which is generously supported by the Yellow Springs Community Foundation. I think it's helpful to hear from me, but it's more helpful to hear directly from clients because they're the experts in their own experience. And so I just want to share a little bit about Julie McCowan. She is a Home Inc. homeowner through the program. She owns a house on Cemetery Street, which was part of the collaboration with the village to build single family housing there. And she has worked for over 30 years at the Friends Care Center, Friends Care Community as a nurse's aide. And so I just want to read a quote from her about her experience as an essential worker through the pandemic. So Julie says, my experience serving as an essential employee during the pandemic was both rewarding and gratifying. My primary goals included being there for my residents because their family members could not, and protecting them from getting COVID-19. My actions on the outside were just as important as when I worked in the facility. Staying well and not carrying the virus into the facility was always my top priority. The residents had a very difficult time not being able to visit family or to go outside, as we had to fill the void physically as well as emotionally. It was hard for the residents and staff during this time. All staff had to be tested every week and wear masks and take special precautions when going home. I felt a deeper connection to my residents during this difficult time, and families were very appreciative of the care and compassion we gave their loved ones. So on behalf of everyone at Home Inc., thank you, Julie, for taking care of so many people and putting yourself at risk to protect our elders at Friends Care. I know it really means a lot to a lot of people who have relatives there. And then here's just a snapshot, a high-level overview of 2020 accomplishments. And I really could not be more proud of our staff. So I already embarrassed Brittany, who I think is on the call. But it's amazing. She's been here for 5 years, going on 6, and she's always willing to play, whatever role is needed, put on whatever hat needs to be put on, is willing to do whatever it takes to be a great team player. And she never hesitates to consider client needs, to develop compliance programs. And since she started, she's helped to bring in more than $2.5 million and counting for affordable rental housing in Yellow Springs. And then Chris Hall, who you'll hear from a little bit later, has been here with Yellow Springs Home Inc. for 8 years. And he has, Chris, you have single-handedly transformed our client program. You can see some stats here, to something that is absolutely a standout program in the state of Ohio. We have a blend of this client-first programs, which includes, Chris getting certified as a mortgage packager so we can close on affordable loans in-house, repair funding, foreclosure prevention, individualized pre-purchase financial coaching, and so much more. It is just amazing what you've done with this program. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you have just absolute integrity, and we are so proud of you. And I have to share that we have 2 very important staff members who we are congratulating as they embark on new and exciting chapters. And Erin Brown is on the left, and she's on the call tonight. She has served as our AmeriCorps Vista for 2 years and has helped to bring in, she's been part of the team to bring in well over $1 million for affordable housing during her tenure as an AmeriCorps Vista. She also loves a good spreadsheet. She's going to be a great policymaker and bureaucrat someday. She's getting ready to go overseas to Amsterdam to complete her master's degree. And we are just in awe of you. You are so wonderful. You contributed so much. I'm not going to ask you to say anything because I know you, but thank you. We really, really appreciate everything that you have done for our mission and for our community. And then Kanetta Sanford on the right, you may have heard, accepted a position to be a 6th grade teacher at Mills Lawn Elementary School. And so we are so excited for her and for the kids that she'll be inspiring every day. And she's brought us so much in the time that she's been here. And so she created a legacy. She helped us find our voice, and we're forever grateful. And we have new staff members. So here are their photos. I would like to first welcome Ashley Hudson. She's on the call today. She is our new Outreach AmeriCorps Vista. Hi, Ashley. Do you want to say anything?
Just thank you. So glad to be working with Home Inc. Yellow Springs is my hometown community, and I only want to see great things for the community forever going forward. And I'm really glad to be a part of an organization who that's their main priority is only to benefit the community. I think it's going to be great for future generations, like even for people that aren't in the housing industry, just to see the great things that Home Inc. does. Just, I think it's inspiring and gives everybody hope. So, and it's a great place to be at, and everyone on the team is great. So I'm very excited to be here and have learned so much, even just since being here in June. So exciting, very grateful. Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Thank you. Welcome, Ashley. And also next to Ashley is Angel Harris, and she is a very brilliant and talented first-year Antioch student. She received 66 scholarships totaling over $1 million to college and picked Antioch. So we're very grateful to have her with us. And she just completed her first co-op. She's home in Atlanta with her family, and we look forward to bringing her back on a part-time basis as she continues her education. And then hot off the press next to her is Rachel Crow-Meck, who is our new Stewardship AmeriCorps Vista. She accepted the position a couple of hours ago. She couldn't join us tonight, but I wanted to at least put a picture up. She's lived in town for many years. She's an Antioch alum, and I just think she's going to do a great job giving us additional capacity to really launch into the next chapter of client programs. And last but not least, Alex Scott has accepted a position as our new full-time outreach and fundraising manager. And Alex, is there anything you would like to say?
Not much, just happy to be here, and thank you.
Well, anyone who has ever worked with Alex knows that she is a true gem. And so we absolutely are just thrilled to be able to work with her as she takes us to the next level of mission impact, and really I think is going to do a great job leading the coalition and engaging with the community. So please join me in welcoming these talented women to the Yellow Springs Home Inc. team. Next, I am just going to do a quick overview of our financials, just in the interest of time, rather than having a whole separate financial presentation. So you can see our community land trust balance at the end of 2020. And a couple of notes, our financial reports are preliminary. For 2020, they were reconciled by an enrolled CPA. And these assets, the CLT assets, are the assets in the community land trust, and they represent affordable housing and other resources that are held in trust to benefit our community right here in Yellow Springs forever. And then here is our profit and loss for last year. My only note here is that our net operating income includes pass-through grant revenue for affordable housing projects, with expenditures shown under CLT assets on the balance sheet. So it may look like we had a windfall, but a lot of that is pass-through grant funding, and which is why we have an excellent finance committee headed by Treasurer Kevin McGruder. And we have some great board representation. And so we look at monthly at the cash flow. We have a monthly cash flow projection, review all of the financial reports. And I think we're in very good hands with a very talented finance committee. And then this photo is so beautiful. This is Kathleen Tong's house when the red buds are in full bloom, and it's so beautiful. So I just wanted to also give a brief acknowledgement to our board of directors, our committee members, our funding partners, our business sponsors, our housing partners, our residents, all of the people who together form your community land trust. And so our annual reports will be coming out soon. You'll be able to see additional acknowledgements there. A special thank you to the Pro Bono Partnership of Greater Ohio for connecting us to a network of up to more than 800 corporate attorneys. And then I also want to just say, for a complete list of donors in 2020, please visit our website, yshome.org. We'll have everyone who contributed last year. We are so appreciative, so thankful, and we are absolutely dedicated to taking every dollar that is invested in our community land trust and turning it around to leverage additional dollars and to put it to use serving our community in a number of different ways. So thank you for your continued support and your continued faith in us. And with that, I will pass things over to our program manager, Chris Hall, to give an overview of client programs in 2020.
Thanks, Emily. We can go ahead to the next slide. So you can see a few different of the key metrics here, and I think there may be a quote on the next slide that helps contextualize this a little bit. Before, certainly feel free to take a look at those numbers. But one thing that I would like to just touch on for a moment in 2020 is how not only were our programs able to shift during the pandemic to really focus on client-centric programming and what worked best for clients through these challenging times, but I think Home Inc. did a really good job of likewise supporting staff through the pandemic. I can speak from my own personal experience with a 1-year-old at home and a partner who has a similar challenging job without any access to healthcare. I felt very privileged to work at Home Inc. beyond just the work that I always feel privileged to do in working with clients. To be at an organization that understood those challenges and was supportive of staff in enabling us to really thrive during such a challenging time. So you can see some of the numbers there. I think some of the numbers that I'll just really briefly touch on, I certainly can't take credit for this, and I don't think our program can, but the zero foreclosures since founding, I think that's especially important to touch upon this year and looking back to last year, knowing what a lot of people in our community went through. On the bottom right there, you can see the 5 clients under contract for CLT homes. That represents 5 of the buyers in Glen Cottages. The sixth one went under contract early in 2021. So, you know, all of those homes were pre-sold. When you go back and look at some of the pictures that were shared earlier, you know, I think that we were able to build the trust with clients to take a look at empty pieces of land and for us to say, this is where your new affordable community land trust home is going to be. And they believed in us. And I think that that is certainly a trust that I'm very privileged to be able to build with clients, and certainly can't take all the responsibility for, but is very, very empowering in the work that I do. In the top right, you can see the home repair grants that we did. Of the 5 grants that we did last year was the first year that those grants went beyond homeowners just in our program, but extended further to other community members who are homeowners of low to moderate income in the village. I really like to key on that because I think it's really important to build a framework to articulate the benefit that we provide in the community beyond the people who just live in Home Inc. rentals or own Home Inc. homes, with the larger benefits that we provide to the community at large. We can go to the next slide, please. Janet, a long-term village resident we've actually worked with through a number of projects through a number of years. She's not a Home Inc. homeowner, but through the Carolyn Peterson program, through the USDA financing, I certainly don't want to speak for her, but I can say that the likelihood that she would still be in the village without her involvement with Home Inc. would certainly be far less likely than the work that we've been able to work with her to achieve. And that's certainly something that I can be very proud of. So this, I think, going back to that slide earlier, I know we're all fans of pictures and we hate the text on screens, but if anybody takes a few seconds to read this, I think this helps translate some of those numbers of how many clients were served, and really contextualizes it into, they're not just numbers, they're actual people. One of the things that I like to key on about this quote specifically is this isn't someone who purchased a home through our program. This isn't someone who received a Carolyn Peterson rehab grant. This isn't someone that we packaged a USDA loan for. This is someone who benefited through the program without being counted in any of those other boxes. So I know sometimes when we see, you know, this many people were served through the programs, I just, you know, when I received this quote, I was really encouraged because I think it helps encapsulate the benefits, once again, that we provide above and beyond the people who are our homeowners and our renters. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Chris. So now I would just like to invite everyone to a very special Glen Cottages Pocket Neighborhood Community Celebration, and that is taking place on Wednesday, August 25th from 4 to 7 p.m. We will be advertising this, but we wanted to share the date with you early so you can get it on your calendars. And so, Alex, how do you feel about trying to show another video?
I mean, it should work. So
okay, I'm gonna get out of here and let you share the next video, which is the much awaited sneak peek of the Glen Cottages Pocket Neighborhood.
all right, give me just 1 second. If this doesn't work, I might have a backup option. So I'm going to hit play and tell me if you can hear this.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm the new AmeriCorps Outreach Coordinator working with Home Inc., and we want to welcome you to our new Glen neighborhood.
Can everybody hear?
Yes.
A little quiet, but it's audible.
We have been working so hard to get this project completed, and we want you to have a sneak peek. So follow me, let's go inside the unit. This is an exclusive first look. We have top-notch quality finishes in an affordable home. These homeowners will have peace of mind, safety, and quality all wrapped in this one home. Plenty of storage. Can't beat that. Now let's go have a peek upstairs. Look at the architecture in here. Just screams Yellow Springs community. This is quality at a price you can afford.
Open the cabinet. Fancy.
Okay, let me see the recorded part that you got here.
Oh, well, that's not what I. So yeah, thanks so much, everybody. I'm glad that that worked out. There were a couple of things that I wanted to point out. I don't know if everybody saw at the beginning of the video, we made a little joke about trees, landscaping and trees, and bathroom mirrors are coming soon. But also Chris Hall mentioned in the chat during the video that the energy efficiency scores recently came in for this project, and these homes will be more than 40% more energy efficient than standard construction. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching.
And I don't know, but just either do a thumbs up or clap if you think that Ashley has a future as a host for an HGTV show. Great job, Ashley. It's unanimous. So great job on the video, Alex. And then I think we have time for one or two questions. We're a little over schedule, so but if anyone has a burning question, I would love to answer it. See if we can answer it. Okay, great. Well, we'll have plenty more opportunities to check in. But now I'd like to turn things over to Len Kramer, who is our governance chair, to talk about board membership.
Hi, everybody. We have this is the business part of the annual meeting, or one of the business parts of the annual meeting. The first thing we need to do is elect board members. There are two current members who are completing their terms that we need to re-elect to the board, or we're recommending we re-elect to the board. One is Malta von Matheson. Malta, can you wave your hand in case people don't know who you are? And Jackie Radabaugh. Jackie, you still on here? Yep, there she is. Okay. Malta is completing his first term. He has been chair of the fundraising committee and led a highly successful capital campaign for Glen Cottages, and is a member of the governance committee, where his corporate and nonprofit experience has been really appreciated. Jacqueline Radabaugh is completing her second term. She has been co-secretary and a member of the governance committee. Her legal background and logical approach have really impressed all of us. And I'm going to ask just that everybody wave their hands like crazy in acclamation to renew their membership on the board. Great. Welcome back. We have 4 new board member candidates. 2 of them couldn't be with us tonight, but 2 are here. So the people who are here are Linda Cox. Linda, could you wave your hand? And Artie Isaac. And there's Artie. Linda has experience as a contracting officer with the federal government, and those of us who worked at the base or for the federal government, I think, understand what that means, which puts her in the firing line of all kinds of interesting and exciting things. She also has worked and been chair of a poverty reduction program in South Central Los Angeles when she was living there, and is currently the chair of the Martin Luther King Day Program Committee here in Yellow Springs. Artie has experience in public relations, advertising and public speaking, and some experience writing poetry, I will add. He has extensive experience as a board member, officer, and consultant. He is currently the convener of a group of 25 CEOs and executive directors who discuss their problems as a peer group. The other 2 members who could not join us tonight are, one is Shadia Alvarez. Shadia has experience as a community organizer and justice trainer. She has been involved with nonprofits and public schools at various levels and was recently a trustee of Antioch College. She is currently Senior Vice President for Equity and Strategic Development at the college and is director of the Coretta Scott King Center. The 4th new member is Leela Klein. Many of you may know Leela. She's a lawyer with family roots in Yellow Springs, and she is founder of Co-op Dayton, using a cooperative model to solve Dayton's problems. She has overseen the development and opening of the Gem City Market, which is a major accomplishment in Dayton. So these are the 4 people we'd like to add to our board. They bring a wealth of experience, are highly sought after as members of boards. And I'd like the same process of waving your hands like crazy to welcome them aboard. Okay, welcome aboard. And that completes this part of the business agenda. And I turn it back to Chris.
Yes, Chris, would you like me to share the screen with the photos?
Please do. And Len, you might be up next again.
If you want to talk for just a second, it's just
Sure.
going to take me a minute to get that pulled up.
So as we welcome 4 new board members, we're all very excited to have you on board, and 2 returning board members. So glad to have you keeping on with this important work. We also are saying goodbye to several longstanding board members, and the pictures are on the screen. I'm going to let Len take over with our farewell to Jackie Anderson.
How do I say goodbye to Jackie? I mean, this is really hard. I think I speak for all board members when I say that Jackie brings energy and excitement to any endeavor she participates in, and she certainly did that on our board. Her enthusiasm for Home Inc. is infectious. She has served as our secretary, our co-secretary, a member of the chair and member of the governance committee, and as our parliamentarian, which we will certainly miss. Jackie, stay close. And do you have anything you'd like to add? Oh, I might say that Jackie introduced all of us to the elevator speech. She made us all come up with a 30-second speech of what Home Inc. meant to us. And so I'm going to ask her to limit her speech now to 15 seconds.
I will just say that Home Inc. has meant finding a way to bring action to the passion that I have for bringing every voice that wants to come to the table of this community to that table. The inclusiveness and equity and the efforts at supporting our diversity in this community that Yellow Springs Home Inc. manages to serve through its mission. That's something very close to my heart, and it's been a real privilege to be a student and to try to be a servant next to such giants that are serving this mission. Thank you all for everything you've taught me, and I will stay close, I promise.
Thanks, Len. Thanks, Jackie. And Susan Stiles, you're up next.
Well, I have the honor and the pleasure of recognizing an outstanding board member, David Seitz. David is just the person that everybody would like to have on their nonprofit board. Yellow Springs Home Inc. is very fortunate to have had David for 3 terms. His dedication and inspiration are remarkable. He has provided wise and practical advice during board meetings and to the executive committee. David has chaired the publications committee and is responsible for professionalizing publications produced by Home Inc. He has done just a great job. He could always be counted on to have things done timely. He has been generous with his time and his leadership. And I would like to say he's done this while being a professor at Wright State University. And this evening I heard him on WYSO on the Culture Couch. So he is a very busy person. Through David's work with Home Inc., he has made a difference in our community for now and for generations. David has been an outstanding board member, an executive officer, and a friend, and he will be greatly missed. We so appreciate all that he has given to Home Inc. and to the community. Thank you, David.
Thanks, Susan. And yes, David and Jackie will both be missed after 2 and 3 full terms, especially on the executive committee where I've had the privilege of serving with them. The last 2 board members that we're saying goodbye to at this meeting are Kathleen Tong. Kathleen's there in the top right. Actually, she's on the to the left of Senator Portman there in that photo. Kathleen is a public school teacher and a single mother. She's been a Home Inc. homeowner since 2005, and she served a term on the Home Inc. board, participating in fundraising over the years, and has also dedicated many volunteer hours helping to build other Home Inc. homes. Kathleen is a voice of advocacy for our constituency, not only locally, but nationally. For several years, she served as a resident ambassador for the Grounded Solutions Network, traveling to Washington, D.C., as in this picture, and presenting at conferences to share her story and advocate for community land trust housing far and wide. Thank you, Kathleen, for your service to Home Inc. and the communities that we serve. And last but not least, Alex Scott, who has already been introduced to you in another context here. Alex joined the Home Inc. board in the summer of 2016 at that great ice cream social some of you may remember. Her role as the special events coordinator and eventually the interim director of the Yellow Springs Chamber of Commerce, along with her ability to convene and rally people across the community, added much value to the board in her role as our membership committee chair. Alex has always kept the community front and center in her role as a board member and proved ready to volunteer for a number of events, including the annual Progressive Dinner fundraisers. We are so pleased to be able to welcome you to the Home Inc. staff as our outreach and fundraising manager. So we're not really saying goodbye, but thank you so much for your service to the Home Inc. board and to the communities that we serve, Alex. And with that, am I handing it to you, Alex?
I think so. We've got another video to pull up, and now that I think we should be able to get it to work. So let me just go ahead and pull that up really quick. One second.
Alex, while you're pulling that up, I just wanted to say that you'll learn more about this particular renter's story in the annual report when it comes out.
All right. So I can't see everybody, so let me know if you can hear this. Here we go.
We got audio.
Signature.
We're good.
Hi, Emily. Hello, welcome.
Good to see you, Emily.
I'm so wonderful here.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's nice to be here in Yellow Springs, back home where I feel I belong. Thank you, Home Inc., for all your wonderful hard work and all you do. Looking forward to your next project. It's the most wonderful thing to have nice conversations in the evening with Sharon and just have something to eat, something to drink, and enjoy our time.
Yeah. Yep. Me too. Everything she said. And it's a good thing to live in the nice house that I have, a Home Inc. house. I've been there 12 years. I'm a happy camper. I get a nice place where I can have my flowers and do my artwork and have good neighbors. It's very nice to have a neighbor close by, a little bit of yard, and all my flowers is in pots, but that's fine. That's fine. It's just about enough I could take care of at my age. So it works out good.
Couldn't be more thankful, more blessed. Thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was just a little glimpse into the everyday life of porch sitting with good neighbors and good friends, Robin Hull and Sharon Moeller. So you'll see more about that in your annual report, which is getting mailed out this week. And we will also be emailing it out and posting it on our website. So you'll get to see a lot more stories and photos and just enjoy the read. So thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you. And just, it is a blessing and a joy to be part of such an extraordinary organization. And so, Alex, I hope this works to play us out.